My name is Owen Daggett. I'm the Sustainability Manager for the Joseph Rowntree Housing Trust, which is a registered charity and a social housing provider. Hartfields is a 10-year-old scheme, so it's one of our largest care facilities that we have in our stock. We've got around about 2,500 homes in total, and at Hartlepool we've got 252 rooms for residents to live in. Well, the driver for us was around energy costs and how those energy costs are passed through to the residents. So we need to bear in mind that Hartlepool and the Hartfields scheme is a scheme for over 55s, and over 55s who can often be on low incomes, who are picking up a large electricity bill associated with such a large building. We analysed the electric bills for a couple of years and knew there was a big challenge around trying to reduce the electricity consumption, and we realised and recognised that a big part of that was from the communal lights in the hallways, the stairwells, the restaurant areas, all these areas that people use and pass through. We met NovaLux through a local steering group committee called One Planet York. So One Planet York set up by the City of York Council to bring a number of organisations together who really want to push the environmental agenda forwards. As we're a registered charity, we need to follow strict procurement rules, so we had to go through a competitive tender process. So this involved getting a detailed tender document received by 3 separate contractors. So NovaLux are one of the 3 contractors we approached, and we assessed them both in terms of quality and also quantity in terms of the cost of the service they provide. We've got a number of residents who are key stakeholders at Hartfields who help to shape the services they receive. So ultimately NovaLux were put in front of some of the sternest challenge in terms of residents they'd be working with and trying to work around in that community. They did a very good presentation, not so much around the cost, because we'd assess the cost provision in-house, but it's more around the quality and around about how they'd work in that building and ultimately in residents' homes. There was a real good personality to what a NovaLux could offer. They managed to obviously answer some of the technical questions that were specific to the concerns that we had, but what residents wanted to know was, can NovaLux manage the project in terms of project management, and can the subcontractors who will be delivering the works on the ground work with the residents in that building and with staff to meet expectations.
The first challenge, I suppose, is the scale of the whole thing. The overall job was to change 2,700 light fittings through all the communal areas of the building, so stairwells, corridors, a gym, a restaurant, lots of offices, a very wide variety of different types of buildings. So we had about 20 different types of light fitting to change, and then within that we had very large volumes of some of those light fittings. I mean, one particular unit we had over 800 light fittings to change, and we worked with an excellent team of installers, and we chose them for this job largely because they've got extensive experience working in care homes. They've done dozens over a period of about 10 years, and that experience and knowledge has been enormously helpful. I think the exact figures are still not absolutely final, but it's a saving of something in the region of £30,000 to £40,000 a year on energy costs alone, and also a saving of about £10,000 to £15,000 a year on maintenance. So that's quite a significant overall cost, and the Trust have decided to feed that savings back into the residents in terms of reducing their service charges.
I think the savings will really come into their own in winter as well. We see typically in these type of buildings, winter lights can get left on longer. What we'll see in winter is that the fact that the LED technology has such a guaranteed performance, we should see the bills normalising over time. Residents are happy, and we're happy as well. So the residents are happy for 2 reasons. Firstly, they're starting to see a reduction in the running costs for the building, which was our principal aim, to try and reduce their bills. But more importantly, the building has seen a refresh basically in terms of the internal environment. The lights have really lifted the building, especially some of the darker corridors, so it's a much more pleasant, welcoming environment. Working with NovaLux has been a really easy process. We set quite a few challenges for NovaLux at the start of the project. We were talking a significant capital outlay for JRHT, so we needed proof that we'd get the money back in the time that we expected. NovaLux worked with us to put some financial models together which helped demonstrate that to our directors and our chief executive. Going forwards, we hope that we'll be able to keep working with NovaLux to keep working through our other buildings and demonstrate and provide savings across all our assets. I'd definitely recommend NovaLux as a lighting supply and installation specialist. I think they've got the skills and the expertise and also access to an excellent supply chain, which is really important when we're looking at these projects.